Hey, welcome to Love Good Kitchen. My name is Matthew. So good that you're joining us today. We are going to be making Mediterranean chicken burgers, known in our house as chicken burgers. They're really delicious. It's a recipe from Sandra Lee from about 20 years ago that I found in an old cookbook, and it's one that we have done so many times that I know what page number it is by heart when I go to look in that cookbook. So, a couple things I do want to share with you about this particular recipe. That one is that it's a little bit on the expensive side, although I do think it's worth it because once you try them, they're so delicious. But it contains some chopped sun-dried tomatoes, which can be pricey. I think they're $6 or $7 for a jar. Also, it has pine nuts in it, which a small bag of pine nuts again is like $5-6. They're expensive, especially last couple of years because pine nuts have been in short supply. You can look that up on the internet to find some more information on why and what's happening there. But those two things, and then also ground chicken. And ground chicken is not the cheapest of meats. But the other thing that I wanted to tell you that relates to that is that the recipe calls for 1.25 pounds of ground chicken, which is kind of annoying because ground chicken is not sold in that amount. So what I usually do is I purchase 2 pounds of ground chicken, two 1 pound packages, and the one package I separate into four so that I have a 1/4 pound, and then I wrap it up and I freeze it so that the next few times that I make the chicken burgers, I can just pull one of those 1/4 pound packets out of the freezer and let it thaw, and then add it to my ground chicken. And we do have our ground chicken for our burgers. So let's get started. In this bowl, I have my 1.25 pounds of ground chicken. And then to that, we are going to add our seasonings. This is a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And like I always tell you, don't worry about trying to write this down because I will list the recipe in the description box or the show more box underneath. So you have that to refer to if you want to give this a try. So we have our Italian seasoning. This is 3/4. Let me check to make sure I'm telling you right. Yes, 3/4 teaspoon of salt and about a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Sprinkle that on. Good, put that right there. And then let's see, next up, I think we will add our breadcrumbs. This is 1/2 cup of seasoned breadcrumbs. Put that in. And then next up, I have 1 large egg that I lightly beat. That in there. Next up, we have, let's do these next. This is 1/4 cup of sun-dried tomatoes that are packed in oil. And I did chop them up. This one was easier because I found a jar that was julienned already in the strips, so I just had to do a light chop, but sometimes I can't find those at the store, so I'll just get the whole sun-dried tomato, and it's 30 seconds more chopping, but that's okay. When I put all the stuff in, I try to spread it out a little bit across the surface because it just makes it a little bit easier to mix up when the time comes. This is 2 tablespoons of pine nuts. The flavors in this are really good between the sun-dried tomato, and this is, well, officially how much is it supposed to be? Let's look. 2 tablespoons. This is probably a little more than 2 tablespoons of fresh basil, but I do not grow basil in the garden, so I buy a little package, and I'm not going to waste any or leave any in there. So that's what we're doing. There, move that over. And this part of the job is a little messy, but I washed my hands right before we started. We're going to go in and we're going to mix this all together with the ground chicken. But it's important to have some good seasoning and strong flavors in a chicken burger because ground chicken is typically the breast meat, which, if it's not seasoned, can be kind of bland when it's cooked, right? And then the other thing is chicken is notorious for drying out when you cook it, but with the sun-dried tomatoes and other goodies we got in here, they're going to stay moist and flavorful. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. Before we started, I mixed up the sauce for these burgers, which is a quarter cup of mayonnaise with 2 tablespoons of Italian dressing, like salad dressing. You blend that together, and that's it. So I mixed that together and I popped it in the fridge, and it is a delicious topping for these burgers when that time comes. So I've just kind of formed this into a ball, and I'm going to eyeball it. I'm going to divide it in half like that, and then each one of the halves in half again. So we end up with 4. And these are going to be generously sized burgers, but we're going to form that into a patty. And I don't know, I'd say maybe about half an inch thick, about like that size is good. You want to make sure that all the goodies are in there. And we're just going to continue and do that with the other few. The recipe, the original recipe, suggests that you put these on a roll or a hamburger bun, whatever style you like, but then possibly with some lettuce. That's how we're going to have ours, with some nice crispy lettuce and the sauce that I just mentioned. But you could also add some sprouts, would be good. Maybe some sliced onion would be yummy. It would taste good. I don't do well with raw onion. Makes me burp, and I don't like that. So I don't eat a lot of raw onion, so we won't be having that on our burgers, but that would also be really tasty. There, those look pretty good. Okay, let me wash off my hands. Okay, next, I have my pan heated to medium, between medium and medium high. We're going to add some olive oil to our pan here. That should be good. Just going to give that a second to heat up. Won't take long. Our pan was nice and hot. All right. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so now we're going to put our burgers in the pan and we're going to let them cook about 5 or 6 minutes on each side. All right. So we're going to let them cook, like I said, for about 5 minutes or so on each side, and I'll bring you back. Okay, here they are. They're all done. The Mediterranean chicken burgers. They look delicious. So, like I said, we're going to serve these on a nice hamburger roll with some lettuce, some crunchy lettuce, and this is the sauce I was telling you about, which is the 1/4 cup of mayonnaise with 2 tablespoons of Italian dressing. Stir together and delicious. Give this recipe a try. Let me know what you think. It's one of my family's favorites. Give this video a thumbs up. Like it if you enjoyed cooking with us today, and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you'll be notified when we post a new video, and all of that does help out our little channel. So we appreciate that very much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you watching. Until next time, we'll see you later.